Hi, this is Lee, and welcome to my podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. So let's just get right into it. Today's subject is going to be about why Black women should date white men or just men outside their race. So, and this is coming from experience. If you've seen any of my previous videos, how I met my husband, and then you will kind of know exactly the background here. But if you haven't, I just wanted to just let you know from experience what it's like and what it was like for me when I was actually out there in the dating scene, dating outside my nationality or outside my race. Okay, so me and my husband, we met online. We met on Plenty of Fish. Back in 2017, August 2017. Okay, we've been married since August 2020 or 2020. We got married right at the beginning or right when COVID started. Best thing that happened to me during COVID. That's another story, but everything just worked out for us. So anyway, I just wanted to basically say why, to me, I think it's important for Black women to date outside their race and get married outside their race. First of all, there's a lot of women out there who are looking for a provider, looking for someone who is making a certain amount of money, someone with a specific background, just different things that women that we look for, someone who's going to be a good father figure, just all kinds of things. Everybody has their reasonings for looking for a mate. So a lot of Black women are looking for good Black men. Okay. And it can be a little bit unrealistic thinking that there are plenty of good Black men. I hear a lot of times in the Black community, oh, there's no good men, there's no good men. Well, a lot of times there's not a lot of good Black men. And the Black men who are available and who are out there, they know that they're a catch. I mean, we're being told in this culture now that we are the prize, that women are the prize. But a lot of us don't realize that some of these Black men are walking around here and they think they're the prize, especially if they're self-made or if they make a lot of money, they're six figures. I watch this dating show on YouTube, and I think she has a show on IG as well. It's Kendra G. It's Kendra G Media, but it's Kendra G or Singles Live or whatever, and she just interviews people who are looking for a mate, or looking for someone to date, I should say. And a lot of them are asking to date men. They want a man. She asks, does it matter how much he makes or anything like that? Or what are you looking for in a man? And a lot of them are like, oh, they want someone who makes six figures. They want someone who a lot of them are just talking about they want someone who is, makes a lot of money and amongst other things. But and a lot of them are just looking for Black men, and some of the men be, paying for the comments because she has a lot of followers. So people pay for comments or questions to the guest that's on there. And a lot of Black men are like, well, I make six figures. Why would I want to date you? You got 4 kids by different baby daddies, or you got this or you got that. Now, granted, some of these women don't need to be out there dating. That's on this show. They need to be getting their home life together first before dating anybody. But that's not what this is about. But it just gave me an insight on what some of these Black men who are making six figures or who are a good catch for Black women, so a lot of them are like, well, I make six figures. Why would I date someone like you? So I'm like, okay, shit, you think you the prize. Oh, okay. And I say that because, like, if you live in communities, especially like somewhere like Atlanta or somewhere like DC, like Chocolate City, or you live in like Houston or something like that, where there are a lot of Black men in the community, the ones who are making the good money, the ones who are the provider men, the ones you are looking for, know that they have a lot of women out there who are looking for them. So they for the streets. They out here like, well, shit, why would I want to date you if this is your situation? You know what I'm saying? Why would I want to date you where I got all these other women out here at my disposal who may be in the same caliber as I am, so because they grew up, whether their background is poor or these men background they was brought up a certain type of way. Now in their minds, they're like, well, shit, I'm a catch. So why am I going to date a woman who's any less than me? So that makes it hard for sisters out there who do want to date, who, are not specifically the type of woman that these men are dating. These men have a lot of options. Okay. In a lot of these states, like, especially like Atlanta, I don't have the statistic yet, but I know that it's probably 100 men to every one woman, or probably bigger than that. And in Atlanta, we already know that is a lot. There's a lot of black gay males on the down low. So that is the black gay male capital. Okay. So it's even harder for a woman in Atlanta to probably find a good black man, or a man that she's looking for, that fits her criteria, or, whatever she's looking for. It's going to be hard. Same thing with DC, same thing with Houston, and some of these other areas where you have a lot more black people or black women and black men in the community. It's going to be a little bit harder for them to find, what they're looking for, because these men out here are like, I got a lot of options. Why would I just settle for you? It used to be us, or it should be us that should be like, well, why should I settle when I got all this, I got all these men to choose from? You know what I'm saying? It's like being on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or something, like, or for a man, it's like being on The Bachelor. Well, I got all these women to choose from, or on The Bachelorette, well, I got all these men to choose from. That's how it's feeling like in the community. But as a black woman, why not branch out your dating pool? Why not branch out in your dating pool, I should say? You know what I'm saying? And I know some women are like, well, there's a lot of piss in the dating pool. Well, sis, you swimming in dirty toilets. That's what it is. Because there is a lot of good men out there in the dating pool. It may not be the man of the same race. It could be a man that's a different race. He doesn't always have to be white. He could be, Mexican. He could be, Latin. He could be Greek, whatever. Me personally, when I first was dating online, I wanted to know what it was like to date different nationalities, different men. I didn't date black. I dated different nationalities. I dated Greek. I dated Italian. I dated Indian. I dated Asian. There's a couple other ones I dated out there because I wanted to know culturally, is it something that I can fit into? And I wanted to see what it was like. I didn't want to be narrow in, when I was dating. I wanted to have, the opportunity to be able to choose, So I think a lot of times black women is just like, well, I want to, have, right now in the community, we, black people are about creating that generational wealth. So they're like, well, I want a black family, so why would I marry, or why would I want to date someone who's, not black? I want to have black families and keep the money in my family, in our community, build up the black community. Unfortunately, if that's your thinking, what you need to realize is that we live in a time period where, and in our society, where we have a high influx of different immigrants coming into our country. You all seen the news. We have a high influx of that. After a while, there's not going to be, oh, I'm just dating in my race. We already have a whole bunch of different people and nationalities in our country. So you don't realize that you may want a black family and you want to keep generational wealth amongst the black people. But what you don't realize is that you don't have control over your generation. You don't have control over your grandkids, over your kids, over your great grandkids. You could be raising a black family, but your son or daughter could be marrying somebody in a different race. Okay? Then where is keeping it in the black community? It's only keeping money and building wealth in the black community is only going to work for you right now. Okay, because generations from now, like I said, with the high increase of immigration and people coming over here, whether it's legal or not, you're going to get a lot of people in the future that we're going to be integrating with Hispanics more. We're going to be integrating with, Mexicans and Venezuelans and people over here. So it's like, that's something that you have to realize. I know, like, for me, for an example, like I did a DNA test, ancestral DNA. I do want to take another one, but I know that mine came back that I'm 89% from African descent. So what that tells me is people my age, I'm 50-ish people in my age group. And before, the time periods were different. More of us probably have a lot more Black or African descent in us because of the times that we grew up in. There wasn't a lot of interracial relationship shit. It was illegal in a lot of states when I was born, and just a little bit before when I came into this world, 1972, where it was illegal in some states to even date or marry someone outside your race. Okay, so now, so you're going to get a lot more people who are mainly of African or Black descent, okay, however that looks. So now we live in a time period where we're mixing races, where there's no such thing as building family and generations of only Black people. Okay, we have no control over it. You have no control over your children and your grandchildren and your great grandchildren and who they're going to marry. Okay, so if that's a part of what's in your mind, that's narrow thinking. Okay, some of us, or some women, are like, well, how do I date a white man? Where do I find a white man? They're not in my community, they're not in my churches, they're not here, they're not there, or however you look for someone of a different race, or look for a man, or whatever, however that looks. You know, you could date online. And I know there's a stigma behind, oh, dating online is dangerous shit. It's dangerous dating someone down the street. It's dangerous you keep dating Pookie and Ray Ray. That's dangerous, okay? That right there is dangerous. You can go on any date. If you're not cognizant and you're not being careful and you not putting the right things out there into the universe so you can get those proper things that you want back, then that's when you're going to attract the wrong things in dangerous situations. But I have a video. Just look at, you know, previous videos about how to stay safe while dating online, or just dating period, just common sense things that we need to do. Because like I said, some of us have made decisions in life where it ain't because we dated somebody online, it's because, you know, we dated the wrong people, we picked the wrong people. And the reason why I think dating online is the best thing to do if you want to look for someone outside of your race is because you can open up your world to more people. I know personally, there was no way for me to meet men in the situation that I was, because, you know, I did work for myself. At the time, I owned my own furniture restoration and flipping business. So I was home a lot. I'm only out when I'm delivering furniture, or, you know, to my customers, or if I'm getting supplies or stuff like that. So I wasn't in that environment. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try dating online. And I started my first profile online, I think in 2015, I think, when I started, you know, dating online. And, you know, I've never had a bad experience at all. And another reason why it's good is because when you're signing up for some of these sites, I know, like with Plenty of Fish, because I only been on 2 dating sites. One was, I think it was called Afro Romance, which I didn't like that website because there was a lot of Black women on there. So it's almost like being in a city where it's like white Black women want to date outside their race. So it was very niche. I don't like niche dating sites, you know, like, you know, when I say niche, like dating sites, you may get a dating site for BBWs, or a dating site for Christian Mingle, or some shit like that, or farmers dating. Those are niche. Those are for specific people. So I suggest dating on something that's a little bit more broad. Maybe like Match.com. I think Match.com is I don't think it's niche, but like I said, I did Plenty of Fish. I didn't do Tinder or nothing like that, but you know, that's the dating platform that, you know, I chose at the time. And you can put in there, you know, like you can filter it by what distance, you know, so you can say, oh, you know, I want to date someone who's like 20 miles away, or 1,000 miles away, or something like that. And if I didn't, I would have never met my husband. I would have never met him or any of the other great people that I met while I was dating. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of just putting that out there, that I think that's the easiest thing to do, as far as like finding someone to date outside your race. Another thing is very important that I feel is a good reason to date outside your race. I'm not going to say I don't hate Black men. I don't hate my nationality. I'm not self-hating. I'm not like, oh, you know, there are no good Black men. I'm sure there are good Black men out there. I've always been attracted to white men since I was a kid. I've always thought white boys was cute. My children are Black. If you see my last video, I know I keep referring, but I just don't want to keep explaining myself why I'm saying the things that I am. I was in a relationship with my kid's father. I have 2 children. They're by different fathers, okay? My children are grown. I have one that's 30 and one that's 26. And, there were black men, but at the time, that's what was in my immediate vicinity. And at that point in my life, I just was brought up as from a very strict household, very strict religious upbringing. Previous video, I was a Jehovah's Witness. I was baptized into it and everything. So it was a very religious background. So by the time I was like 19, 20, because I didn't start dating until I was 20, and gave up the virginity. Okay, I ain't lose it. I gave that shit up at 20, and there just wasn't a lot of white people in my area at the time. And I, at the time I'm like, oh, I want a bad boy. I didn't know the word or term bad boy, but I'm like, you kind of want something completely opposite of what you normally would date. And that's how I felt. I'm like, and so, black guys, first one was drug dealer, what I'm saying, and a very abusive and all that. And so anyway, that's another story for another day. But I still was attracted to white men. Even then, I always dated light-skinned black men. So that's as close to white that I would get. And then as I got older, and when I ended my last relationship, he was actually biracial. He looked more black, but he was biracial or whatever. And I said, next time I date, I want to get out this dating pool, and I want to actually be with a white man, because there's certain qualities, and I'm not saying all white men, okay? It's just certain qualities that white men possess that I personally have not seen in black men. I know that they appreciate a sister, because it seems like I can be myself. Like I can still be myself around my husband, and that's what was important to me too. That he accepts me for who I am. And a lot of times, I think with black men is that they want you to be a certain way. And what am I trying to say? Like they want you to be a certain way. Okay. And they kind of like want to run shit all the time. They want to run shit because they always seem like they got something to prove. A lot of them do. And so it just seemed like with white men, it's not like my husband's sure as hell ain't no pushover. I treat him like the king he is. Okay. But I just feel that because of epigenetics, it's like a lot of black men be having a lot of that angst and anger in them sometimes. A lot of them do, because of their upbringing and because of our history, where like white men, they tend to be a little bit more laid back with things. Their upbringing was a little bit easier than ours, so they don't have the angst and anger inside of them and expectation from a black woman that a lot of black men have. And my husband, when I met him, yeah, he was a 6-figure provider. Okay. So I think that if I was looking for just a black man, I do live in a metropolitan area. I do live in, Sacramento. I was at the time when we met, but now I live kind of like on a city over. But it's like, I can meet black men, white men, whatever, but it was just easier for me to just be online, because I don't go to, like, I'm a home person. I'm a Gemini, so I could be an introvert and extrovert at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, I could get along with anybody. You could put me in the middle of a room, I could talk to everybody, you know what I'm saying? But I like to be to myself, so it would have been hard for me, like I said before, to find somebody to date, just walking down the aisles of Home Depot or Walmart or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, sometimes white men they're scared to, or afraid to approach. If they do like black women, they're afraid to approach a black woman, because they're like, well, what if she, doesn't want to talk to me because I'm white? I mean, they have that fear as well, so, and I'm the type of person where I don't approach men. They would approach or would have to approach me, same thing with dating. When I was dating online, I never inboxed anybody. I always was inboxed. Okay. And then I'll follow up with that if I decide to, so I just think that it's just important to just have an open mind. And a lot of times, like I said, black women don't have an open mind because they're afraid, stigmas. What are people going to say if they see us together? I mean, not everybody is accepting, but if that's the fear that you live with, well, how would you ever know? Now, I know for some black women it may be easier for you to find maybe a provider in your small community. If you're in a rural part of Alabama, Louisiana, something like that, maybe you don't have that problem, but and maybe you are more afraid because you're in a deep south to be in an interracial relationship. Maybe the stigma is greater. I'm not saying that I haven't faced some opposition, but my opposition that I get has always been from black men. They're the ones that's always like looking at me like, you with a white man, and type of shit like that. You know what I'm saying? The sisters, they always compliment, you guys look so good together. Y'all make a good couple, or they say things that's uplifting sometime, and I appreciate that. I accept that. I'm happy about that. But at the end of the day, I don't care who accepts me or not. I don't care where I live. Now, however, I would say the downside for me dating interracially is if we decided to move outside of California, which I know I would never move out of California. Even my husband, he doesn't want to leave California. I've been here most of my life. But I know that, something I would have to think about is like the communities. Like, do I want to move to North Carolina? Do I want to? Because I'm so used to being in California in a different mentality that people have here as a whole, or the majority of them do, that I don't know if I'm ready to face that type of opposition. I know I said a minute ago, I don't care what people think, but I don't want to have to be going through stairs and different things and snide comments because, white people in them little communities, they're afraid to say something. They're not afraid to say shit. You know what I'm saying? Out here, they may be prejudiced, but they ain't gonna say nothing to you, okay? So, and I've gotten some looks from some white women, you know what I'm saying? But what's a look? Nobody ever said nothing to me or my husband, to our face, in regards to us, being an interracial couple. I know that I didn't have to worry about raising biracial children. I'm sure that may be something that you have to think about. If you want to date outside your race, you have to think about raising biracial children, because you want to be able to teach your kids your black heritage, and integrate it with whatever heritage your husband is. So I know that's something that you may have to think about. But I didn't have, or even if you have small kids and they're black, and then now you bring a white man into the picture who doesn't have children. Those are different things that you have to think about too. But don't keep any of those things from wanting to venture out and broadening your dating horizon. It can't hurt, even if you at least try it. And if you didn't like it, then hey, you didn't like it. But especially y'all sisters who live out there in these states and these states and these cities where it's predominantly black, you're in competition with every other black woman out there. Okay, especially you live in a place, like I said before, like Atlanta. A lot of black women out there are coming up. They winning. They got their businesses. A lot of them are entrepreneurs. They're millionaires. So of course, the black men who are also millionaires and they're self-made and all that, they're going to be looking for the same type of woman. You know what I'm saying? So your dating pool gets smaller. Now you competing with them. I don't know if y'all ever watched that show. It comes on OWN. It's called Ready to Love. I love that show because it's so amazing to me. You know how we're told when we look at certain like YouTubers and stuff, saying, we're the prize and stuff like that. And I do feel obviously I'm the prize, but like when you look at some of these shows, I'm like, these women is too busy trying to be like, hey, see me over here, pick me. I could do this for you. I could do that. And you trying to compete with another black woman. I like the show because it's entertaining, but a part of me don't like the show because I hate how the women act on this show, because it's like you're trying to vie for the attention of this one black man. I forgot how many contestants, usually like, let's say 10 women, 10 men, and they're all black men, black women, because Ready for Love, it's Ready to Love. Yeah, Ready to Love. They're black, and they happen to be in some of the states that I was just mentioning. Like they did a couple of seasons in Texas. I think one was at Texas. I think Houston. I think they did Dallas. I think they did Florida one year, and I know they did Atlanta. They did DC. I think they did Atlanta a couple of times. They did DC. And a lot of these black men, they're like, they make really good money. And these women are obviously, they make good money too. But it's like these men, they know that they have the pick. I don't want to say litter. Don't get offended when I say the word litter. I know we are not litter, but I'm just saying it for the sake of this. They know that they have the pick of the litter because they're like, well, I make a lot of money and I'm this and I'm handsome and I'm that. And so it's like they put themselves up there in a pedestal because being raised and being in our community, we're never put on a pedestal. So when they finally get some money and they finally get some clout, they way up here. So they don't want to date nobody. They don't want to just date any black person, any black woman. Okay. So, you got to watch the show. It's amazing. Just the concept and how people are. And it's like these men, they already know these men don't even be competing. It's supposed to be each other competing. It's like these women be competing more than these men because these women are like, well, damn, just like how there's only 10 men on the show, that's how it is probably in their state. Like, damn, there's not a lot of good men in my state. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like they don't have the pick of the litter. They're like, well, I got to make sure that I'm competing and that I do this or act this way or whatever because I want them to pick me. And these men know that. They fucking know this. So, of course, they're just, like I said, they're for these streets. They're going to act a certain way. These men are going to act like they the fucking prize. And a lot of times they are the prize on the show. They're the prize. You know what I'm saying? They the ones that do be choosing. Women's supposed to be choosing, but these men are choosing. The only women who get to be choosing on this show are black women who look a certain way. Usually the ones that look like, I'm going to say pretty privileged because that's a statement that be thrown around on social media. I don't know if if I subscribe to the pretty privilege, but I'm going to use it for the sake of this discussion. A lot of women, they look a certain way, like they're, usually light skinned, have certain type of hair, certain type of body or whatever. So usually those are the ones like all the men want to talk to her. Just watch the show and you'll see what I'm talking about. But otherwise, if you're a sister who's beautiful, you're a black, beautiful queen, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them are, because I think dark melanated women are very beautiful. Okay, we're very beautiful people. Our skin is beautiful. Okay, we have melanin. Okay, we're very beautiful, but nobody tells us this. So when we're out there on shows like this competing, we got to compete with the Beyonce looking sisters, and those are the ones who all the men usually are attracted to, even on the show. I'm not saying all the time in life, but on the show that happens a lot. And what I realized also with dating white men typically date darker skinned women, brown or darker, so I've always been told by white men, oh, they love the color of our skin. Some white men love the texture of a black woman's hair. Yeah, I'm wearing a lace front, but my husband don't care. Okay. But it's like a lot of men, they like the natural, or they just like everything about a black woman. They like our curves. They like us. They like how we're straightforward about things. There's so many things that white men are attracted to, when it comes to us black women. And so a lot of black men, they don't always appreciate something like that. They don't always appreciate that. A lot of us aren't feeling appreciated, wanted, or loved by the black men in our community. Where white men is something different for them. They're like, they love that. They love how different we are. They love a lot of things about us. Things that we forgot to love about ourselves, they love about us. I find that in my experience, white men they seem to be a little bit more chivalrous. I'm not saying all black men are like this, but for the most part, the ones I've dated, like my husband opens my doors. He does everything for me. Okay. So I know that in my experience, and I know it's all about your upbringing as well. I have a black son. So of course I raised my son to be a certain way when dealing with being a black man, I taught him certain things. My children were raised in a single parent household. So there's a lot of things I couldn't teach my son. Like I can't teach him how to be a man, or couldn't teach him how to be a man, but I was able to teach him how to treat a woman in some regards, just basic stuff for how I know I would want to be treated, So it's like, people who are dating interracially, we are winning because we have a lot more people in a dating pool when you open it up and like, hey, let me date somebody over here because they're not just a black man. And you can I'm not saying just exclusively date outside your race. I'm just saying, won't you add this to it? Won't you see what it's like? You may like it. You don't know it till you try it. You don't know. Just don't let anybody get you down. If you are, just a tip, if you are going to date on a dating app that is open for everyone, I would suggest that I would suggest when you first do your profile. Okay, so sometime in some of the profiles, I have to go back on Plenty of Fish because I'm sure they changed it since 2015, which was 9 years ago. This is 2024. I'm sure some of the interface was changed, but you can put in there what you're open to dating. Try first to, if you can, if whatever dating app you get on, if you can filter it to just not picking anyone black, so that way you're not inundated with more black men, and just so you could test out the waters and have more men of other races to inbox you, whatever that dating app or site that you want to get on. Try filtering it out that way first, because you can filter it out by distance. You can filter out some of these sites by how much a man makes, like certain build, like you want a fat man, you want a slim man, an athletic build, average build. Like some of these dating sites let you do that. But most importantly, if you want to know what it's like to exclusively date outside your race, be sure, if you can, to filter it out that way. If you cannot, you can always put on your bio or on your profile on your dating site on the dating site that you prefer to date outside your race. And that's what I did. I put, because at the time it didn't say on there it didn't allow me to pick to date just outside my race or anything. And that was 7 years, like I said, 9 years ago. But I think when I peeked at it the other day on Plenty of Fish, because I wanted to see what the interface looked like now, because I'm writing my book about dating, dating online or whatever, and I wanted to see the interface, and now it does have that on there. But when I did, I had to put in my profile and in my bio that I wanted to date specifically outside my race. And I did get, like, the men who didn't read my bio, I knew, because as soon as I looked to see I got a match or someone hit me up, it was always like not always, but it's a black man. I'm like, okay, they mustn't look at my bio. And then I have to inbox him back and say, hey, did you read my bio? So he don't keep inboxing me. And then I had, I got some pushback from a lot of brothers up on that side. Oh, you dating, he must be a Trump supporter. You dating only white men. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta be dating somebody. Let's not get into that, because some of y'all black people voting for Trump anyway. So I don't know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But anyway, so it's like you can pick, you can put that on your, your dating profile. And I did. And like I said, I got the pushback from a lot of brothers, but I just, some of them was just going in on me and this and that. And why would I want to do that? And it's like, you know what? Next one. See, that's what I'm talking about. Why you coming at me like that on my profile if I said that? A lot of these men, as soon as Becky hit them up, they hitting them up back, so it's like, come on now, double standards, I guess, whatever. So you can't put that on there. And because even on there, like, Plenty of Fish kept matching me. They'll inbox me and say, oh, we found a match. And it was always a black man. So I know for a fact that you couldn't filter out what specifically you wanted to date. So now they do. You could date cisgender, all these other things. I'm still learning all the terminologies and stuff. I guess I'm old school. I had to learn cis man, cis woman, different genders. If you may not be into men, maybe into women, they got all that on there, so you could date all that. But like I said, if you want to just put that in your profile and see what it's like, trust me, as long as you do everything right with your profile, you will be able to start dating. Just start dating a bunch of people. Just start going on dates. You know what I'm saying? Just start going on dates. Don't listen to what nobody has to say. Your family, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your kids, whoever. Don't listen to nobody. Just do this for yourself, because at the end of the day, you the one that wants to find a good man. Okay? And just staying within your own race is not where it's at. Okay? So I'm not going to keep going on. Just depending on what platform I have this uploaded to, if this is YouTube, because I have this podcast uploaded to several places, be sure you leave a comment. Let me know how you feel about this. Do you date outside your race? If you're a white man, do you agree with some of the things that I said? Do you like black women? What do you love about black women? Okay, thank you so much for listening to my podcast or watching my podcast. Thank you so much for checking out Life as a Gemini Goddess. Hope everyone have a good day. Good luck in finding love and finding that man that you desire and that will take care of everything that you want. All right. Have a good day.